Hey guys, what's up? It's Drew here again. Quick video blog. I wanted to touch on again Alex Jones. I just wanted to give a little bit more feedback on it and exactly what the issue is with it. Okay. Now, on my last video when I talked about Alex Jones, a lot of people were saying how like it's a private company and how you can't force somebody to bake a cake for somebody. Just like how the guy who went all the way to the Supreme Court, he couldn't, he couldn't be forced to bake a cake for a gay couple. Let me just explain the difference between those two things, okay? There's a very big difference, okay? First of all, that cake baker or that guy who didn't want to bake the cake for the gay couple, he was willing to bake. He was willing to bake any kind of other cake that they wanted. He just didn't want to bake that kind of cake. Okay, so it's the same thing as going into like McDonald's and saying, I want like a ribeye steak, and McDonald's saying, well, we don't make ribeye steaks. That guy, they went into his cake store and they said, we want a gay. Well, he said, we don't make gay cakes. That's different. He didn't ban them from his store, Although as a private citizen, I guess he does have the right to do so. He does have the right to say that he doesn't want to service them, but that's not what he did. Now, do Facebook, Google, and all these huge, I'm talking about huge companies, have the right to ban you from their platforms? Of course they do. They do, but that's not the point. The point is that they're so big that they may as well be run like a public utility. Because you know what? First of all, Facebook is a public company now. They're on the New York Stock Exchange. No, Google too, right? Aren't they on the Nasdaq or something? Who else? Who else? That shut them out? Apple. These companies are so big, and they occupy so much space that they're almost, in a sense, they're almost like monopolies in the spaces that they occupy. To some degree, I would say even more so for Facebook. You know, I'm not. It's a fine line there, and I think that when you get this, when companies get so big that cutting you off their platform is equivalent to silencing you. Just like AT&T, if AT&T or Sprint were to cut Alex Jones off because they don't like what he says, or if a bank was to cut him off because they don't like what he says, that is something that requires a government intervention. I'm not saying that the government should intervene and tax these people to the hill. I'm not saying that the government should intervene and tell these people exactly how to run their business, but I am saying that if these companies are going to occupy such a large space of the social media sphere, and social media is now how people kind of express themselves, they should be mandated by government to keep an open range where people can say things and people can express themselves, even if it goes against the side or the side that they've chosen to stick with. Okay, that there's a very big difference here. Now, I'm not just saying this just because I've watched Alex Jones for a long time and whatnot. It's just the principle of the matter. It's a moral hazard. It's the problem. It's a door or the can of worms that we open up when we're going down that path. We're going down a path where you pretty much just shut out people that you don't want to hear. You're limiting the space for dialogue, and honestly, if you're a liberal and you're watching this, I know it's really hard for you guys to get past your emotions sometimes. It really is. I know that you guys feel, Donald Trump really got under your skin. Donald Trump lives rent free in a lot of your heads, your family's heads, your friends' heads. It's like become a culture of hatred, a culture of pure, unadulterated hatred for this man and for everything that he represents. I understand that that is how you feel. However, in your hatred, you may bury yourself by doing such things. You may bury yourself by doing such things. I know for a fact that people who are down the middle, the independents, for example, they value critical thought. That's why they're independent. People who already lean right, they already lean right. People who already lean so far to your side, they were on your side when Hillary was failed when Hillary lost. They were on your side already. So I don't think you've gained any new people by doing this. You know, and the other thing is that the whole Russia thing, by the way, nobody nobody cares except you guys. Nobody cares except you guys. Now, I don't even want to get into that because that will open up a can of worms here. But my point is, liberals, that honestly, I think that this is a huge losing issue, because people that were on the fence now are now saying, well, okay, what if, like, take an independent voter that is undecided leans one way or the other, right? Sometimes they can lean your way, sometimes they can lean to the right, okay? But they may wake up one day and say, well, I disagree with the right. Am I allowed to disagree with the right? Oh yeah, I'm okay. I'm allowed to disagree with the right. No consequences, no problems. But then they wake up the next day and they say, well, I disagree with the left. Am I allowed to disagree with the left? No, if I disagree with the left, I could get banned. My bank account might get shut down. My phone might get shut down. My social media account may get shut down. You know what I'm saying? So now you're putting the independent voter or the undecided voter in a position where they associate risk with voting for your side. This is illogical. I don't know who's leading your party, but you guys are on a fast pace to self-destruction. I'll tell you why. It's not just because you're pretty much representing yourself as high risk to people who could vote for you, but also you're pushing for physical violence in the streets, and you guys don't even support guns. You guys don't even support having guns. Half of the people that follow you are men that ingest soy and are very feminine. A lot of the people that support you don't even support arms. A lot of people that support you don't even know how to defend themselves. A lot of people who support you, I'm just saying, before you guys, it just shows that a lot of you guys you're either manipulated emotionally by the media that's out there to do everything in your own worst interest, or you just are self-destructive at your core. And I feel like in some cases I kind of get the picture that you guys are self-destructive, because let's think about it. You live in a country where you want people to pour into the borders. You live in a country where you want people to pour into the borders. You instead of picking up traction by appealing to people's economic self-interest, you now present yourself as a risk to their First Amendment rights. Like, if I was an undecided voter, this whole thing that happened with Alex Jones would turn me right over to the Republicans. I would never. What choice would I be left with? What choice would if I choose you one day, I may have to choose you. I have no choice. You have to understand the most important thing to an independent, undecided voter is their choice. That's why they're undecided. They love to be able to say, oh, one day I can go with this side, one day I can go with the next side. You know how I know? Because I was an independent at one point. Okay? And I chose the right side. I chose going with the right because, not just because things were going too far left. That's part of it. But the other thing is that if I chose the left, I may only be able to choose the left going forward, because of the consequences that would come with it. So I chose the right because it was less risky. It was less risky. It was the lesser of the two evils, and I had a lot of things that appealed to me, not just economically, but in foreign policy and so forth. So some of you, I feel like you liberals are lost in your own echo chamber, and you're gonna watch this video, you're gonna comment, you're gonna get angry, you're probably gonna call me a sellout and thumbs down my video, and you're gonna feel good about yourself. But at the end of the day, you haven't changed any minds. You haven't done any groundwork. You haven't moved people towards your cause. So when Donald Trump wins and beats you guys in a landslide, you're gonna be confused again. You're gonna be shocked again. You're gonna be like, whoa, what's going on here? And that confusion is going to lead to pain. It's going to lead to embarrassment. It's going to lead to shame. And now you're going to want to heap even more punishment on the people who supported Trump or Trump. You're going to land yourselves in a very big problem that I don't think you're prepared to face. So let me just say, just think rationally, think logically, think sensibly. And honestly, you guys banning Alex Jones is not a victory for you. You have to understand, first of all, Alex Jones viewers, okay? I'll tell you why, again. Alex Jones viewers like myself, We don't wait to be fed information. We get our information from digging for it. So he hasn't lost viewers just because he's not available on Facebook. We're gonna be going to, we're active. We go to his site. We're gonna go to him. You know what I mean? Like, he was already being shadow banned and his ads were already being taken down, and we were still going to him. We're gonna go to him now, even more now, because now we know he's revved up. He was revved up before. We know he's revved up now, so we're gonna go to him for sure now. But we were gonna go to him anyway, because we're not the type of people that are just force fed information by the mainstream media. So by banning him, you've turned him into a commodity. You've turned him into a highly valued asset that is artificially scarce from the market. You know what that does? That turns somebody into a very valuable commodity. There's nobody else like Alex Jones on the market. If there was other people, there are, but they're not as big, not nearly as big. There's Jeff Rents, there's other people who I really have to dig for their information. You gotta look for them. Sometimes when I'm in the mood, I go look for them. But there's nobody out there like Alex Jones. There's nobody out there he's entertaining, but behind all the entertainment, if you can get past all the hyperbole, he's woken up a lot of minds just by introducing alternative thinking. He doesn't get everything right all the time, but the alternative thinking, the alternative way to look at things, is very powerful. And it's to the point when you wake up, liberals, when you wake up to it and you open yourself up to it and you're open-minded to it for even just a second, you can't go back. You can't go back to just accepting what you're force-fed by the mainstream media. You did him a favor by blocking him. You made him that much more valuable. But I'll give you an example. I started watching Alex Jones in 2010. It's 8 years ago. And I watched him on and off. And when Trump got elected, I was like, wow, Alex Jones did his thing. Our job here is done. I can tune out of Alex Jones for a little bit. So I tuned out. But since you guys banned him, I've been looking at his feed every 5 seconds, waiting to see what he's gonna say, what other information he's got. Now that he's under the radar, now that he's underground, he's probably even more dangerous, where you can't see him. You guys, it's like you guys are stepping on landmines. Like when you see somebody step on a rake and it hits them in the face. You guys are doing a lot of that. I just don't know. And I feel like this advice that I'm giving you guys and this insight that I'm giving you guys will be lost on you. You're just gonna come to my video and you're just gonna be like, F you. You're a sellout. You're a white supremacist. You're just gonna say a bunch of things that don't matter at the end of the day, that are not gonna sway anybody over to your side. I'm trying to appeal to your sense of humanity. You gotta let your soul, let your spirit go from all this ignorance, and try to meet the other side halfway. Because the way the media is manipulating you guys is gonna force you guys into self-defeat. It's self-destructive. You can't win like this. It's just not gonna work. The only way for you guys to win now is intimidation, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, which I don't even think you guys are prepared to do that. Honestly. So at the end of the day, I think banning Alex Jones and banning conservative voices is just going to force people underground. You're going to lose control over the structural and governmental agencies in the United States, and eventually you're going to be driven out by forces that are bigger than the companies that are, I guess, for your better luck, favoring you currently. And that's all I got to say. Peace.